here, and I'm gonna say this. This is why it's scary that you have so many people. Hold on. It's scary, and that's why I say it's scary that when I see black men in the Democratic Party, because I always think they're a little sweet. And the reason being is because you hear black men mad at Donald Trump because he said something about grabbing somebody by the pussy. You see men that's upset because a man paid a woman to be quiet about their sexual escapades, and people are up in arms about that. These are men that are up in arms. Like, come on now, paying for pussy. You mad about that? You mad about a man having a conversation about grabbing a woman by her vagina? That wasn't even the president when he said these things or was doing these things. Like, that's why I say a lot of these guys that we have out here, they just on a different type of time, and I would never understand it. I don't want to understand it, but I just think a lot of these dudes are just sweet. They fruit dupes, and it is what it is. So the first thing we're finna play this video right here.
He's got to get to Fulton County, Georgia. And here we go. A Georgia Court of Appeals has disqualified the Fulton County DA, Fani Willis, from that election interference case. It's coming down right now. The case against Trump and more than a dozen others already largely stalled, as you know. The new ruling means that it will be up to the prosecuting attorney's council in the state of Georgia to find another prosecutor to decide on the case, to take it over and make a decision as to whether or not they continue with a prosecution of the incoming president.
And former Deputy Assistant Attorney General John Yoo is here. John, does this mean that this is yet another one of the cases against Trump that could go?
And I'm gonna say something. We hear a lot, and I'm gonna talk about sexually transmitted diseases too later on in the show, because there's so many videos that have come out with people talking about they got HIV and herpes and how they got it and how they're dating now, which has always been weird to me. But so many people are open with that, and you couldn't beat that out of me. If my life was on the line, I still wouldn't get on the internet and tell people that I got HIV or herpes, but people do it. But anyways, have y'all noticed how when these people have these positions, they always let sex taint their legacy or taint what they're supposed to do? And the reason that I say that is like Nathan Wade is supposed to work with her, right? And all the stuff that came out with her and Nathan Wade, so much so that her daughter got into a wreck. Not his daughter, her daughter got into a wreck, and both of them showed up to the scene of the crime to see what was going on with her daughter. But they never had any sexual escapades. He wanted to put on the case to make all this money because that was her little boo thing. Think about the Young Thug trial. Young Thug trial, the reason that she prosecuted Young Thug and them was because she was supposed to have been having sex with one of the people that YSL had killed, and made a promise to the mother of the guy that she was talking to that she was going to get the people that killed her son. Sex always ruins people's lives, especially when you hold these positions. You can't use these positions and be having sex with your subordinates or put people in positions because you're sleeping with them, because these are conflicts of interest, and people do it all the time. And some people get caught, some people don't. But I would advise y'all to make sure y'all keep y'all coochies, y'all cootie pops, and y'all Peter Walkers in y'all pants.
Away before he's president?
It's another example, Dana, of this lawfare campaign that was waged by Democrats, boomeranging back on them and falling all around their ears. Anyone who watched this trial, remember, this is the DA who claimed that the entire Trump reelection campaign was something like an organized crime racket that was intending to deprive everyone of our civil rights to vote. But remember, we saw the dramatic testimony over the summer of how DA Fani Willis had hired her boyfriend, essentially, to be the special counsel, overpaid him, and then had him investigate and bring charges against Donald Trump.
And you know how stupid people are. Y'all know one of the red flags that came up to why they looked into their relationship is because this goofy ass dude that she called herself sleeping with her boyfriend overcharged hours Overcharged hours, the same as the Tiffany Henry. The reason they looked into a lot of her stuff up there, what she says, because the people that she had on payroll was overcharged hours. How the hell you work 196 hours in 1 week? How you work 196 hours in 1 week? That makes no sense.
It's a complete conflict of interest. And if you take a quick look at the Georgia Appeals Court decision here, that's what it says. There's such an appearance of impropriety, an appearance of a conflict of interest, that Fani Willis should not be the prosecutor. I think this spells yet another case that's going to have to either be suspended or more likely just ended and tossed out. It's hard for me to see another Georgia district attorney wanting to take up this flawed case and try to prosecute Trump on these theories that his reelection campaign was some kind of criminal organized crime enterprise.
John, a couple of things here. There are 14 others that face charges. I don't know what happens to them, but she can appeal to the state Supreme Court in Georgia. But given what the Supreme Court said in Washington about immunity, I mean, does the state Supreme Court even take her case in Georgia?
It's a good question, Bill. I think what's going to happen here, along the lines of possible appeals and so on, is it looks likely, because of that presidential immunity decision by the Supreme Court, that any kind of state prosecution of President Trump would have to be at least suspended, if not dropped. You're seeing that going on.
And for the most part, by the time they find another prosecutor or anybody, this case gonna fall flat. Like, there's no point in anybody continuing to try to pursue Donald Trump at this point. And I'm gonna tell y'all, big dog Donald Trump got motherfuckers acting right. They got to understand, it's people, when you got people like Stephen A. Smith trying to act like he more Republican now, and you have Charlemagne the God singing a different tune now. Like, when you have these people that was full-fledged trying to act like they Democratic and they don't like the things that Trump do, and now all of a sudden he's in office. Like I said, black people code switch more with each other than they do other people. That's why you see all of these black people out here doing the Trump dance and saying they voted for Trump. If he would have lost, they would have acted like they voted for Kamala, because that's part of code switching. And black people have to code switch with each other more than they do other people and other races.
Arguments going on right now up in New York City with the case being heard by Judge Merchan. So even if they could get past immunity, they'd still have to suspend it while President Trump was in office. But furthermore, you'd have to go back and then scrub the whole indictment, scrub everything the grand jury did, and say you've got to eliminate anything that used official actions by President Trump, any evidence that came in from White House officials, from anything the president was doing in the Oval Office. That might actually fatally handicap this prosecution and require the whole thing to be dismissed.
It's interesting, too, because she had this novel way of trying to get at him through RICO. Was that a mistake as well? In addition to her personal behavior, obviously, is what they're saying here. But in a way, it was this like novel idea, like, how can I be the one to take Trump down? That's
another thing that we got to talk about. The idea, especially when you're trying to go after somebody like a Donald Trump or the president, even if it wasn't Donald Trump, the idea that you could just move and do things in a manner, I don't have to purport yourself in a manner that's conducive for you bringing these types of charges against people, as if they're not going to go and look into your background with a fine-tooth comb as well, is crazy. And we see this a lot, especially with a lot of the black people. It ain't black woman or black man. A lot of the black people, and listen, I do believe that there is a thing called a black tax. Now, when you're in these positions, y'all got to make sure y'all are squeaky clean. But a lot of y'all get these positions because a lot of y'all are paid, and they know that y'all are scum of the earth. Black people, that's why a lot of y'all get these positions, because they know that y'all are going to do their bidding when it comes to the globalists. Just like a lot of y'all got George Soros funding y'all to get put in these positions, right? But anyways, if you are a person and you're not getting funded like that, and you're trying to do your best, make sure that your background is squeaky clean and the things that you do and the way that you move in these positions, because it's crazy that we have so many people get in these positions and think they can do and act the way that they want to act. We have a lot of people, and I hope that a new day is coming to where the quote unquote elites are actually going to get exposed in the upcoming years. Not even just on some entertainment, Diddy, Jay-Z. I want to see your Joe Bidens and their Burisma dealings and stuff like that. I want to see those people get exposed as well.
For like politically, she wanted that reputation.
Yeah. Dana, you and I remember we're Justice Department alums. Yeah, I remember you when you were there and I was there and we were, there after the days of 9/11. And you can use this kind of statute, RICO, to try to go after real organized crime, drug cartels, mafia organizations. DA Fani Willis introduced, I think, a really dangerous theory was that we could use these powerful tools that are used for terrorists and drug cartels and apply them to political campaigns, and not just any political campaign, but the campaign by the leading opposition candidate at that time, Donald Trump, the head of one of the two major parties in the country. I think ultimately the whole thing—
And whoever told her to do that was stupid. Whoever told her to do that was stupid. You are trying to charge this man with the same shit you charge a Young Thug with. A RICO case. That was dumb. Whoever advised you, that I don't be understanding who really be behind the scenes advising them to do this. Because okay, you pay me some money to do your bidding, but I'd be damned if you pay me some money to look like a damn fool. Now you could pay me to do some things, but I'm not gonna look like a fool doing these things while you got it. You could say, "Hey, you want charge Trump with RICO? We didn't paid your house off." Charge him with RICO. I was like, "Hey man, I know you paid my house off, but come on, man, you got to come up with something smarter than that." That shit makes me look dumb, and it's gonna make if it falls back on me, or they find out that you funded me, it's gonna make you look dumb. We got to come up with something better than this. Okay, you can fund me, but I ain't going out here to just look stupid now.
Would have been tossed out because of violate the free speech rights of Donald Trump, the free speech rights of the Republican Party, and actually a lot of Americans who supported him. So I think in the end, this whole thing was going to come crashing down around Fani Willis's and the Democratic Party's ears. Anyway.
Well, it seemed complicated from the beginning. There is that case here in New York that's still out there, the 34 counts in Judge Merchan's court.
And that shit is insane. 34 counts. The Supreme Court has been asking y'all, well, who has Donald Trump hurt? That's the whole point of being able to bring up these counts. Who has he wronged? Who has he hurt? Y'all are saying that he misrepresented the price of Mar-a-Lago. Y'all are saying something about the way he got loans, and that's how he got loans. But the bank has told y'all plenty of times that the reason that we give Donald Trump loans because we have a good working relationship. So every time he pay back a loan, he wants some money. We just give it to him because we have a good working relationship. Just like y'all do your everyday lives. When you do something for a person, they scratch your back, you scratch their back. It's that simple. Who was wronged in the case? And they still haven't told us who was wrong or who was hurt, who was used in the case when it came to that 34 counts in New York.
He made a ruling about a week ago that the conviction still stands, but the penalty will be judged at a later date. John, do you think that later date ever happens now?
Hell no.
I think this is Judge Merchan really still trying to go after Donald Trump. Think about it. If you look, Bill, you mentioned the presidential immunity case. There's a footnote, a really important footnote in that opinion that says states, even if they're prosecuting a president for private acts, can't use evidence from the presidency. They can't use what Donald Trump said in the Oval Office. They can't use what White House officials said. Nevertheless, Judge Merchan went ahead and held a trial and introduced that kind of evidence. He should, at the very least, order a new trial, if not force the DA to go back to it. But what Merchan is doing, which I think is still dangerous, is he's dangling these charges still, the sentencing, over the head of Donald Trump and saying, well, I can't sentence you now. Maybe I won't. He still probably could try to get him before the inauguration, but he shouldn't. But he's going to say, I'm going to dangle that over your head for the next 4 years, and I'm going to be waiting for you when your presidency is over.
Well, you have to think he's doing the work of Alvin Bragg, right, Dana? At the moment. I mean, he works for the DA, right, John?
I don't know.
And I think Alvin Bragg is getting sued right now by Daniel Penny. If y'all don't know who Daniel Penny is, that's the guy that choked the black guy out that died on the subway and was just recently found innocent. he's suing him because they're trying to say that Bragg was doing the bidding of other people behind the scenes to bring those charges against him.
I wouldn't say he's doing. I'm sure Bragg loves this idea because Bragg is trying to make his career out of harassing President Trump. And this is a terrible thing for not just Donald Trump, for all Americans because of the presidency. You don't want presidents to have to try to make the toughest decisions on behalf of the country and have to worry what's going to happen to me when I come out of office. Is this, two-bit judge and this DA
you have to be able to have clear
me.
decision making. Indeed, John, you stick around for a moment. We have some other breaking news. Bill,
yeah, I'm still.
Like I said, it is a lot of stuff going on when it comes to America, bills, prosecution, taxes, just everything. And like I said, people are just okay with doing bullshit and thinking they're going to get away with it. Oh, man, used to always say this saying to me. He used to always tell me, he said, hey, you're getting by, but you ain't getting away. Biden took money.